Hi Westwood family. Before we start, I would love to thank you on behalf of Westwood Alliance Church for showing interest serving at Westwood. God's church cannot be built without people like you. Whether you show interest in children, youth, or adult ministries, we cannot thank you enough. Your service here can only be fully rewarded by our Lord Jesus Christ Himself. Now this video is aimed at helping you serve more effectively and at the same time ensure the safety of you and the ones within your area of service. Here at Westwood, we value the goal of bringing people into a deeper relationship with Christ. We want to make disciples that are biblically rooted so that they can effectively share the gospel. And we cannot be happier for you to be part of our Westwood team. Whether someone is here for one weekend or a long-time Westwood family member, we want them to feel welcomed and safe right here at Westwood. When we live our faith with authenticity, God will accomplish amazing things through us. Someone once said, we might be the only Jesus or Bible that they will ever meet or read. Our prayer here is that you can radiate Jesus' love for God and His people. Now, without further ado, let's get it rolling. Before serving in a ministry, it is required for all our staff and volunteers who are currently or will be serving with children or youth defined by BC laws as under 19 years of age, are required to go through a current criminal record check. Now, these are renewed every 3 years. Other prerequisites include a ministry application form, regular attendance at Westwood in no less than 6 months, and a safety and risk management training offered by respective ministry pastors. Now, here are some tips on effectively serving the people. For example, learn their names quick or their favorite hobbies. Take notes if you need to. People like to be known and valued. Don't let anyone leave your area of ministry without feeling noticed and welcomed. Try to do more listening as opposed to talking. Understand that we shouldn't be too quick to judge a book by its cover and come to quick conclusions. For example, underneath anger, it is almost always hurt. If you must attend to someone whose behavior may pose a problem, make every effort to remove them from the immediate audience where the issue occurred. This both minimizes embarrassment and any chance of escalation. Now, when we serve alongside others, we learn to care for and value them. It is a work that bounds you, and you are involved with work that changes lives. And it's so rewarding, part of watching God changing lives. However, there can be gray areas or danger zones, you might call it. If you are a married person and you are finding yourself inappropriately attracted to a fellow volunteer, you need to ensure that you create a safe distance before it becomes a problem. It could mean asking your ministry leader for a different role, or even withdrawing from the ministry altogether. Temptation is real, and we must guard ourselves from it. It can mean that putting up some safeguards for ourselves. For example, meeting at a public open space. When meeting with a person who is upset or angry, it is wise to seat yourself near exit route or by a door where you can quickly exit if a person becomes dangerous. Or having a barrier between you two, like a desk. Or keeping a safe physical distance where it prohibits the person from harming you. At least an arm's reach is a pretty good start. Also, when dealing with a combative or confrontational person, it is wise to not lose your control. Also known as be patient. It's human nature to get defensive when being attacked or misunderstood. But it's essential that we stay calm in any and every situation. Now, Christ's followers, our response will either help or hurt our testimony. Proverbs 15:1, a gentle answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. Now, in every situation, our aim is to de-escalate the scenario. This can be done in several ways. For one, by tone. Do everything to lower your voice instead of raising it. By connecting, personalize by repeatedly using the other person's name. By redirecting from everything is wrong perspective, validate what you can or look for areas you can agree upon. And by curiosity, ask questions like, help me understand on what areas that you and I disagree upon. Now, it is quite possible that during our work with others, we will be told things that may be concerning. Earlier in your conversation, let them know that if you hear things that you feel that their safety or the safety of others are at risk, you cannot promise confidentiality, but you will aid them in connecting the right people who can help. Now, if you're married, it is practically unwise to meet someone one-on-one of the opposite sex in a private space, whether it be at church or off-site. Now, take to heart that as a member of the ministerial team, whether paid or volunteer, you are placed in the position of trust. And that means always treating people with respect. And at no time taking advantage of that trust, physically, emotionally, or spiritually. And in no way serving on behalf of Westwood to act in a manner that gains them advantage over another for personal gratification. Now, even if someone invites sexual content into a relationship, that behavior is prohibited. Now, there are a few key rules when serving in the ministry. Keep our actions public. Never be alone one-on-one with a child. Never allow another leader to be alone with another child. For preschoolers, when they need to use the washroom, make sure there are 2 leaders that will accompany them. And volunteers must stay outside the washroom with doors open. For elementary-aged children, they are allowed to go to the washroom by themselves with volunteers acting as hall monitors. Now, these steps are aimed at accountability towards each other and to protect volunteers and the children. Now, keep physical contact to a minimum. Sometimes children just want to be snuggled or to hold hands. And it's okay. There's nothing wrong with that, as long as it's led by the child and in the presence of other leaders. Now, better alternatives are high fives or fist pumps. Know what to do if a child discloses or if we suspect that an abuse is happening. If a child trusts us enough to tell us that they are being mistreated in some way, like a neglect, physical or emotional or sexual abuse, what we do and how we react is extremely important. Take it seriously. Listen to the child in a calm manner. Reassure them that they have done the right thing by telling you. Do not promise to keep it a secret, even if they ask you to. Again, assure them that you will do what is best. Ask good questions. Ask questions to clarify so that you have key facts of the situation. Ask reflecting questions and not leading ones. For example, if a child says, someone in church is hurting me, you can ask, would you like to tell me more? Rather than, is it so and so that is hurting you? After the discussion, write things down. The details like dates, time, names, etc. And if you have sufficient information, to justify the concern, stop questioning your child. Seek help. You must pass it on. Inform the pastor who oversees the area of ministry, the lead pastor, the chairman of the board, and they will help you through the process of reporting that is outlined in the child abuse neglect protocol found in our church website under Serve. Now, only report to the designated people. Otherwise, it quickly becomes gossip. We do need to remember that in our world and in our churches that it is a reality. And by acknowledging that, we can better understand our responsibility as well as our legal obligations to report a child abuse. Now, possible indicators of abuse are listed on our website under the Serve section. If you're ever confronted by a parent making an accusation such as, "I know you are the one who made that child abuse report," never confirm their accusation. Instead, direct them to the pastors, who in turn will direct them to the Ministry of Children and Families. Under no circumstances that a person admits making a child abuse report. Reports are to be kept confidential by the Ministry of Children and Family Development. Sometimes people can confirm suspicion with statements like, "I didn't want to, but the law demands it." Don't go there. Instead, redirect like how we have discussed. Now, you may run into other areas of concern while serving, like suicide. If someone tells you that they're thinking about committing suicide, or that if you have any reason at all to be concerned for someone else's safety, remember, never promise confidentiality. Be clear that as much as you want to help them, there are certain things that you can't keep to yourself. That there may be a lot of pressure to do this, but under any circumstances, you can agree to it. Instead, assure them that you will get someone who can best help them. Bullying. Westwood does aspire to be a church of love, respect, and authenticity, where people live out their faith that is consistent to what Jesus has called us out to live. That means being people that respects everyone, treating people as they would treat ourselves. If a situation occurs in which leadership is aware of a concern, volunteer or paid staff are to immediately intervene to prevent physical or emotional injury. Now, the staff leader's responsibility is to determine what actions are to be taken next, including the involvement of other senior staff. Depending on what has happened, ages of who those are involved, parents could be informed of the situation. That communication is required with the parents of the main players who are involved, but it could also mean other parents based on the situation. Make every effort to eliminate further occurrences of concern. Sometimes it can be achieved by increasing supervision. However, as each situation is unique, then those who are involved in leadership who are applicable to this situation will need to determine what future actions are needed. Now, within this context, leadership are encouraged to be watchful and guard against any situation for themselves or for others where unhealthy and inappropriate balanced power occurs. Then these situations are to be reported to the senior staff. Social media. Electronic communication is between staff and people in their care should be safeguarded by limiting it to notifications of events, occasional words of encouragement, devotions, or brief responses to questions asked that would not cause any concern if they would be to be viewed by the pastoral staff. Now, ongoing communication outside of these parameters shouldn't be occurring anyways. As much as possible, parents should be informed or even be part of the conversation. And also, photos or videos are not to be used without any written consent. The same type of communication care needs to be taken in our interactions with co-workers, ensuring that we have no concerns if others were to see or read what has been sent. Emergency procedures. We do have emergency procedures to help us deal with potential crisis situations like a fire or dangerous intruders. It is important that if you serve in a position of responsibility, that you are familiar with how you can be best respond. This information is fully outlined in our website under the Serve Volunteer Resources. Some instructions may even be posted in areas of the church. However, do not treat them as your last line of defense. Instead, treat them as your first. Medical emergencies. Do call 911 if a situation of that caliber arises. There are also qualified emergency responders in a church that may be available for assist. Where required medical assistance equipment that can be used and an AED device is located in our church right beside the reception windows. And if you're involved in incidents that involves blood, you must use latex gloves, which is located in the emergency aid kit located by the AED device. Well, that wraps up our safety and risk video. Again, thank you for volunteering your precious time with us here at Westwood Alliance. Where our mission is to make devoted followers of Jesus Christ who love and live, so to lead all people to God.